Hi everyone, I'm Swathi from Indiahikes and you're watching Trek with Swathi. In today's video, I'm talking about the best treks for forest lovers. Now, I'm surprised we don't already have a video on this because all of us are forest lovers at Indiahikes, and in fact, we design our treks that way so that every trek has at least a little bit of a forest section. But you know, there are some treks where the forest section really stands out and sticks with you for a long time to come after the trek. So I have just handpicked those particular treks in this list today. So here's the list for you. The first trek on our list is the Bedni Bugyal trek. Now on this trek, right from get-go, you enter some of the most magical forests that you've seen, because you start your trek from one and all the way to Ghairoli, and even until you finish your tree line before entering the meadows, you are in some of the best forests of Uttarakhand. Because right from one, you first start at this Latu Devta temple where there are these huge trees. You need at least 4-5 people to hug one tree. That's how huge they are. So you can imagine how ancient these trees are. And that's just the beginning. As you enter, you walk through these trails, you're under this lovely canopy of trees. You enter a vantage point and then you further descend all the way down to this Neel Ganga river, and then starts your ascent to Ghairoli Patal. So this entire section, entire day's trek, and even the next day's, half the day's trek, is in these beautiful oak and rhododendron forests. And these are some of the most dense forests we have seen. The best part is that you're actually camping in a clearing within these forests at Ghairoli Patal, and that campsite is one of the best campsites we have, especially early in the morning when there's beautiful golden light pouring in. Those forests will just melt your heart. So Ali Bedni is definitely on top. The bonus is if you go towards Ali Bugyal and you at least touch the forests of Tolpani, those forests are also incredibly beautiful. The next on our list is the Bhaba Pass trek. Now, you might wonder how the Bhaba Pass is making it here, because a pass crossing, of course, is a very overpowering element. But the forests on day one of this trek, from Kafnu, your starting point, until Muling, which is your first campsite, these are some of the best fir forests we have seen in the Himalayas. Because most forests, they have these small streams trickling in the river, you can fill your bottles and things. But on this particular trek in the forests, you see an entire river flowing through, a thick blue-green river coming through the forest, sneaking its way through. This is the Bhaba river, and it will catch you by surprise because of the sheer width of the river. And you'll see many times mist floating through the forest. It's a very, very dreamy trek, and we almost classify this as the best day one among most of our treks. So the forest between Kafnu, Muling is something to watch out for, and if you're a forest lover, this is definitely a trek you must do just for this one day of trekking. The next trek on my list is a Goechala trek in Sikkim. I think it would be a sin not to mention this trek because it has some of the best forests of the eastern part of the Himalayas, because you're walking in the heart of the Kanchenjunga National Park. So right from the beginning of this trek, you enter some of the most beautiful mixed forests of the region, but the actual magic starts after you cross Sachin and cross the Prekchu river at Kokchurang. From there all the way till Phedang, you're walking through some of the most phenomenal forests of the region. And several sections of this trek have these beautiful wooden logs laid out, which are absolutely postcard perfect. So it is these forests that allow you to see some of the best bird life of the region. It is these forests that allow some of the best biodiversities of the region, and it is what make us celebrate the forests of Goechala. So we've covered a trek in Uttarakhand, in Himachal, in Sikkim, and now I bring you down to central India, and I'm going to talk about the Pench Tiger Trail. Over here on this trek, you're walking through the buffer zone of the Pench Tiger Reserve, and let me tell you, Madhya Pradesh has some of the best forests of the entire country. This forest has some of the highest biodiversity we have seen. In fact, you stand in any point in the forest, ask a guide to tell you what you're looking at, and they'll be able to point at least 25 different species standing in one spot. That is how diverse these forests are, and they're very, very dense. And not just that, you have this beautiful river flowing in the heart of the forest, and you walk along the length of this river, and you're walking under this beautiful canopy of the forest. So it's one of the most fairy tale-like experiences we have ever seen, and Pench Tiger Trail is definitely up there on our list of forest treks. Next on our list is the Ranthan Kharak trek. Now, there are treks that show you different kinds of forests, and there are some treks that celebrate rhododendron forests, and Ranthan Kharak is the trek for that, because in March and April these forests burst to life with the best rhododendrons we have seen. Earlier we thought Deoriatal Chandrashila had the best rhododendrons, but after seeing the forests of Ranthan Kharak, we had to quickly change our minds, because on this trek in March and April you are walking through flaming colors of pink and red and orange and all kinds of colors. The entire hillside comes to life. So that is the Ranthan Kharak trek. But I have to say something here, it is not just the rhododendrons. Even in September and October, which is not rhododendron season, we have seen these forests to be some of the most beautiful, untouched virgin forests of our country. And what makes it even more magical is these clearings in the forests. And the trek gets its name from that. Kharak means a clearing, which is a huge clearing in the forest surrounded by these dense trees, and you are in the middle of it. And the beauty is you get to camp right in the heart of some of these clearings. So Ranthan Kharak gives you a very, very wild, very dense experience of untouched forests of our country. With rhododendrons, without rhododendrons, it's a trek to reckon with for sure. The sixth trek on my list for forest lovers is the Kuari Pass trek. Now, I haven't seen a single person who's gone to Kuari Pass and not come back raving about the forests, because these forests are some of the most beautifully laid out forests. You start the trek, and on your way to Ghairoli, you see some of the most beautiful coniferous trees. These are tall, you can't see the tops of the trees, you have to crane your neck, and you're walking right under these trees. But the actual magic is between Khulara and Tali. You are going to be walking in some of the best mixed forests with oaks and rhododendrons in these forests. But the magic is the way the light is coming in and the way the forests are laid out. But you know, the cherry on top is your Tali campsite. Because on this Tali campsite, the forest is right there on you. Actually, you are right there in the forest. It's not even a very big clearing. It is a very small, cozy campsite. There's a lovely stream flowing through, and you are at the heart of it. The most beautiful part is you wake up in the morning and you're not waking up to your alarm. You're waking up to the sound of birds chirping. You're waking up to this golden light streaming through the forest. It's one of the most magical things. And here's something you probably didn't know. It is said that the Chipko movement started somewhere very close by here. There was a threat to these forests being deforested, and the Chipko movement, which was started by Sundarlal Bahuguna, Chipko means to hug the tree. So this entire movement started in this region. So the forests of this place actually take on a more strong meaning once you hear about this story. And when you're hugging a tree there, it takes on a different meaning altogether. So Kuari Pass is definitely on our list of the best forest treks you can do. The final trek on my list is the Deoriatal Chandrashila trek. If these forests are not celebrated, then you're not celebrating the right treks, because all the way from Deoriatal until Sialmi, a long trek, almost 10-15 kilometers long, you are going to be trekking in some of the most beautiful forests of the Kedarnath Musk Deer Sanctuary. Now, these forests are super dense because not many people trek in them. Most people just climb up from Sari to Deoriatal, and then they go from Chopta to Chandrashila. But this is where we realized that that these forest trails in between, which are connecting Deoriatal to the other side, they are some of the most magical forests. I've personally been in these forests and I've seen foxes, I've seen munals, I've seen deer, and these are some of the most wildest settings that you will be in. Of course, as long as you are quiet, you're blending in with nature, you get a chance to see some of the most magical wildlife and biodiversity in these forests. So for this beautiful forest section, the Deoriatal trek is definitely a must-do. It's on top of our list for many of our trek leaders also who are proper jungle lovers. So that brings me to the end of this list. I've given you 7 treks which have some extraordinary forest sections. If you are a forest lover, do any of these treks. In fact, do all of these treks one after the other. The forest treks are what will remain with you for a long time to come. You know, for us at Indiahikes, these forests are the roof above our head when we are camping in the outdoors. We share our secrets with these forests. We do everything we can to protect it. So these are some of the most special forests for us. So we hope you enjoy it too and look at it that way. If I've missed out on any other treks, and I'm sure I've missed out on a lot, you can drop in a comment below and tell us which was your favorite forest section. I'm very curious to know. With that, we'll be back with more videos about the best treks in our country. Make sure you hit subscribe and the bell icon next to it, and you'll get notified of our next videos. That's all from me today. I'm Swathi from Indiahikes, and you're watching Trek with Swathi.